Although I am involved with CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada, the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the participants and do not reflect those of CADAC. And now, cue the music.
This is the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, a show for high-achieving ADHD entrepreneurs. Together, we will inform and educate you about how to improve your self-awareness while developing systems, routines, and habits for conquering the entrepreneurial world. Here is your host, Andre Brisson.
Hey there, it's Andre here with another short for the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, the podcast for the high-achieving ADHD entrepreneur. This episode is brought to you by CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada. You can get more information and you can donate at www.caddac.ca. This week we heard a good conversation with Fred and I about me taking that month off, be it called sabbatical, time off, vacation, holidays, and whatever you want to call it. And the one thing I wanted to discuss here with you right now is the one thing that hit me, and I never realized that this is that home is overwhelming. And I know you heard me say that. Maybe some of you are thinking, what does he mean by that? I know my wife was wondering, I meant that as in a negative way, but actually it was more of as an awareness and realization way that home is overwhelming and it's hard to have a vacation or a holiday or calm down or relaxation at home for many, many reasons. In the green room with Fred, we're talking about how a couple examples why home is overwhelming. You have a big long day at work, big long day at week, and then you go home in the evening. You're supposed to calm down and relax and get ready for the next day, and same thing on the weekend. But for the life of me, I never felt that. I could never feel that way. And I always wondered why. And like Fred said, him and his wife decided to put everything that needs to be done in the house, little projects, fix-ups, repairs, new things. And their list right now is at 64. So let's just put that into context. You come home every night, you go home every weekend, and you know you've got 64 projects to do. Where do you start? Nothing's prioritized. So our ADHD brain goes with that overwhelm and we freeze. We go into I don't know what to do mode, and that's when our distractions allows us to get away from that overwhelm, right? Because the other thing I realized with Fred last week was when I got overwhelmed at work, my default escape was work. So my brain would say, you're getting overwhelmed here, you're not know what to do next. I'm sure I can find some way to give you a dopamine kick. Do something at work or work related to get that done. And you got it off the list and you can get it done. A lot of projects on the go, fixing. Chores to me, I told a lot of people, it says, you know what? It's hard to relax on the weekend because the weekend's full of chores. Cutting the lawn, taking the kids wherever, cleaning the house, laundry, doing the books as I call it, to make sure the finances are in order, grocery shopping. And I'm not saying that I do all that, probably not, but just examples of what a lot of things we need to do at home that just takes away our ability to sit down and relax. And for the ADHD brain, I think subconsciously my brain knew getting home was not a relaxation point because there's so much to do. Walk into my office, it's not very tidy. I got to do this, I got to do that, I should do that. Oh, I remember to do this now. And we're keeping all that listing in our head. And I like what Fred did was his wife, they just listed down the projects so they can see it. And then for them, later on, we'll talk about more about prioritizing. Now, let's talk to the listener here. I think some of you could appreciate or understand this, but let's talk to the parents. It's a nonstop full-time job. Even when you're sitting there doing nothing, just breathing and trying to clear your mind just to rejuvenate, parenting is there. There's constant demand for the kids. They want your time. They want to test your patience. There's discipline there. There's reminding and doing chores. There's reminding and doing homework. They decide to want to spend time with you when it wasn't scheduled or planned or doesn't meet your plan. They don't want to do things when they commit. Like family demands, but not only at home here, family demands could also include your nuclear family, that you got to go visit family, you got to go to your parents' place, you got to go here, you got to go there. So there's that aspect of overwhelm at home. So the other thing too is like I keep asking, let me ask you actually, I want to ask you this. Can you really calm the brain at home after a big brain energy draining day or week? I want you to think about that. And I'd like you to, send me some comments, please, at andre@andreb.ca. I want to hear them and see if you've got similar experiences, similar challenges. Maybe you've got some strategies and observations that you've made you want to share that people can help. Because I'm looking for some ideas myself too, because this is a brand new realization and an awareness. And it opens my eyes, because it's almost as if saying we need to get away from the world and home to rejuvenate. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I misread my own handwriting. We need to get away from work and home to rejuvenate. While we were raised or conditioned to say we need to get away from work by going home, and home is a safe zone and a calm zone. But in reality, it isn't. And our ADHD brain can't really function effectively to an overwhelming home. And I don't mean overwhelming negative sense or, a bad home environment. It's just the stuff we have to do. It's not only the stuff we have to do, it's the stuff we know we have to do. Stuff we need to do as determined by spouse, by kids, by society. But I think ultimately is what we think or we tell ourselves or convince ourselves that we need to do. That's overwhelming. Even though that one project can wait a week, clearing the desk can wait another day. But sometimes we convince ourselves we got to do everything right away. So the more I thought about this, is like realistically, people, our brain needs a break. That includes a break from home. So how can we do this? But the conversation with Fred and the more I thought about it is the true times I have a true break or rejuvenation is actually when I'm not truly at home. And that means going out with friends in the evening, simply even taking my kids out to music lessons, going for a walk, getting out of the environment, getting out of the overwhelming environment. Right? I even had that experience this weekend. I got out of my office because it's overwhelming, the mess I got to clean up here. So I went to my woodworking shop. But I went in there and I know I have about a good 7 big projects I need to do. I did not know where to start. I was starting to feel overwhelmed, and I know what I was going to do. I was going to do this, do that. I ended up vacuuming, cleaning up everything again. I was like, this is all I'm going to do for the next 2 hours if I stay here. So I decided to go for a walk. Went for a walk for about 45 minutes, came back. My head was clear. I actually calmed down a little more. My brain slowed down. I was able then to do a couple other things a little more proactively and consciously, and I was able to achieve that result quicker. And the one thing I want to end here with is I've always been big on mental energy. I never realized why until I learned more about ADHD. And I think a lot of ADHD management and success is how we utilize and conserve our mental energy. And then when we use our mental energy with stuff we hate, it's inefficient use of that energy and it gets burned up quicker. And I have a sneaky theory, suspicion, or idea that I think the ADHD brain, either we have the same amount of mental energy as anyone else, or we have less. If we have less, then we're burning the energy the same way as everyone else, but our reserves are a lot lower and we run out quicker. Or because of our ADHD brain and we do everything amped up quicker and more and 10 times, 100 more, and we feel more, maybe we're using up that same amount of energy, but at a quicker pace. So if we do stuff that we really love and enjoy, we're using high efficiency mental energy burning, and we get things done quicker, better, and efficient. I think in our hyper focus mode, I think it's high efficient use of mental energy. So anyways, the last thought I have here is mental energy is used all the time, and it does not differentiate between play, work, and home. And for me, that's a big key one. It doesn't differentiate between the three. It does not know that I'm at home and it should be better use of my mental energy and work is not, and play should be bonuses. So being aware that all three zones burn the same energy the same way, I think can help us leave our environments to rejuvenate, to clear our heads or slow down the brain, and maybe just not have this thought or belief that home is a safe place and it's a place that we should feel comfortable and everything rejuvenates automatically. It doesn't. Our ADHD brain gets overwhelmed easily, and I guarantee if we think about it, I bet you we get more overwhelmed from home because of all that kind of stuff compared to work. Thanks again for listening. I want to hear from you about what your thoughts about this. And if you do have any strategies, please email me at andre@andreb.ca. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for the show, please visit theimpulsivethinker.com. The Impulsive Thinker podcast is produced by Tactical Breakthroughs and hosted by Andre Brisson. Remember, ADHD is only a part of you, not all of you.